Hello, Internet, and welcome to the Free-to-Play cast, brought to you by MMOBomb.com, your home for all things free-to-play related. I'm your host, magicman. Got my friends with me. We've got a lot to cover, so we're just going to jump right into it. Introduce them real quick for the fourth time in a row. Brim, how are you, sir?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, Magic Man. How are you?
Oh, man, you sound so much better than last week. So much better than last week. We've also got Kaylin on the line. How are you, ma'am?
Doing great. How are you?
Hey, you sound a lot better, too. You don't sound nearly as mannish.
No, I'm not on my deathbed this week.
Yeah, some viewers called you out on the previous show. They said, she sounds like a man. And she was a little sick, sorry.
Just a
little bit sick. So, all right, we're going to jump into the news here, but we've got a couple announcements that we've got to run through real quick here. I apologize to those of you that always comment, hey, this video didn't match up with what you were talking about on a particular show. For the first news story, let's roll some Smite footage. Let's throw that up because the announcement I have to make is Smite related. We're going to let that roll through the first news story because, unfortunately, the first news story, guys, we don't have any video on yet. Nobody does. It won't be released for a little bit. So, real quick announcement. We have selected the teams for the Shady versus magicman Smite match, and we had to wait until 5v5 queuing was ready to go. It's ready to go. We've sent out the invites. We had to make a quick replacement. One person wasn't able to take part because of scheduling. So, without further ado, the teams in that battle, my team, is composed of Effexon, XDRT, Dragon Ninja, and Mantis. What do you think of that, Brim?
Sounds beautiful.
I know. Just their names. Those are those are names. Good names. I don't know if any of them are good at MOBAs, but they're just good names. Let's go.
At least good at naming.
Yeah, I picked some good ones there. All four accepted. Shady, we had to make a quick change just due to scheduling, but Shady's team is Don Silver, Takiji, Ed, and Angel Guerrero. That sounds like a wrestling lineup.
That's true.
Some good names there, but I gotta think that my names are better, Kaylin. Are you with me? Am I gonna win this based on the names?
Based on naming, yes, you've got this.
Awesome. So we've picked them based on their comments, based on where they live and MOBA experience. We tried to pick from around the globe, so it wasn't just everybody in the United States matching up against each other. So we'll be filming that and posting that video soon. We're going to give them about a week or two in the game just to get familiar with it. We supplied them with beta keys this week, so we look forward to that. We also have Brim on the show, which means we go to Brim's segment that you introduced last show, your Derp of the Week.
Yes.
Yes, you got some feedback on that one, huh?
I did, from our dear friend Hans Dieter.
Very cool, very cool. Well, we'll get to Hans in just a second, because I think you need to tell the viewers. Last week you sounded, not your normal self, because we had to use that onboard mic due to a unfortunate goblin eating your speaker wire.
That is true.
And for those of you that listen to the show, we normally record this on Sunday evening United States time. Sometimes we do it on Monday just based on work schedules for the host, but it's usually Sunday or Monday evening United States Eastern time. Kaylin, right now it's about 1 a.m. Wednesday morning.
Yes, it is.
We were set to do the show Monday evening. That didn't happen because, Brim, you had your own Derp moment of the week.
I did.
What the hell happened? Tell the viewers, because now I'm up really, really late, and it's all your fault, so I want you to tell them why.
I know, and I apologize. All right, so I get home, and all I want to do is come upstairs, record the show, and drink a can of Coke, right? Is that too much to ask for?
Just relaxing. Okay, I'm with you.
Right. So I get the can of Coke, I go up the stairs, I sit down at my desk, and I had just bought a brand new headset. And these new headsets, they have like a 6-foot cord on them for God knows why. So obviously it's hitting the floor. And, now that I think about it, a rubber band probably could have saved me a lot of trouble that night. Anyway, so I sit down, the cord's on the floor, whatever. The can of Coke slips out of my hand, and somehow the corner of the can lands on the cord. So between the can of Coke and the floor, it splits the cord of the new mic right in two.
Oh, Lord.
Kaylin and I are messaging back and forth trying to figure out if we're going to actually be able to record this last night or not. And I'm getting messages from Brim that he's borrowing things from the neighbors and getting paper clips out and he's trying to MacGyver something.
Paperclip and bubblegum.
And then finally I get the message, that's it. I'm buying a wireless mic tomorrow. That's, to be fair though, that's not Brim's best Derp moment, but it's a good one.
Oh no! We're gonna tell the laptop screen story, Brim.
Oh, can we?
If you want to, I think that should be saved for another episode. But if you want to go ahead and tell them, we'll tell them.
I mean, while we're on the subject of Brim's Derbs,
Is somebody gonna listen to this show and get you in trouble?
You know, at this point, it would probably be better if she found out. Anyway.
just come clean.
You never know. Maybe
right,
she'll forgive me.
I'm going to tell it then. So, Kaylin, you, me, Brim, a bunch of us were playing Star Wars, the Old Republic, and we're all on Vent, and this was back when Star Wars was fun, like the week it was released. Well, that wasn't bitter or anything, was it?
Not at all.
Not at all. So we're all on Vent, and Brim had a rough day at work. You know, we have that every once in a while. I just wanted to come home, make himself a sandwich, sit down and MMO for a little bit. So, Brim, you went and you made yourself that sandwich, right? Looked delicious, right?
Oh, it looked fantastic.
Oh, but then he turns around and there's a surprise on the kitchen floor from one of the dogs, I guess.
Yes.
So Brim's got to take care of the dog business, and he's already not in a good mood. And so he's grumbling while he's cleaning this up, and the dog decides that's a pretty delicious-looking sandwich on the counter there. And while Brim's taking care of the dog's business, the dog takes care of Brim's business and eats your sandwich, huh?
Oh, yes.
So at this point, this isn't even the derp yet.
That's the sad part.
I know. At this point,
We're normal people.
if you know Brim or you've ever hung out with us or you listen to the free-to-play cast, you know that Brim can get worked up when he's got an opinion or he's angry about something. And so at this point, I just picture him seething. You know, he's in this awful day at work. His sandwich, not only did he have to pick up after the dog, but the dog went ahead and ate his sandwich. So I just see him like sitting down at his laptop, banging his password in, trying to put in the authenticator. Now, what Brim doesn't know at this point is that the numlock key is on. So his password doesn't get accepted. He doesn't know if it's the password, if it's the authenticator, but that's it. This is the last straw.
Yeah, that was it. That was the turning point to where rage just took over in this household.
Brim chucks his authenticator. It slams into the laptop screen, totally destroys the LCDs on just half of the screen. So he's got that lovely ink leak on one half of his screen, but he can see everything on the right. So he still decides he's going to play Star Wars, and he orders a new screen and everything. He's got to wait for it to come in. So he's playing for days with just the right side of his screen. He's the easiest person to kill in PvP because you know he's going to strafe to the right.
Just sneak up on the left. He won't see it coming.
Because he can't go to the left at all without not seeing his character. That's the derp, but that's not the best part of the story, Kaylin. I don't know if you know this part. When Brim's lady friend is wondering what happened to the laptop, she's not very happy about having to fix this and spend a couple $100. And so Brim, in his infinite wisdom, decides, you know what, telling her the truth on how this got bashed with an MMO authenticator probably isn't the best idea.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So instead he tells her that one of her textbooks fell off the shelf above the computer desk. and landed on his laptop, cracking the screen, thus making it her fault.
Oh, he didn't.
He did.
Oh, Brim.
I wanted to still be able to play. There was no way if I told her that I chucked the authenticator at the screen and broke it, she was going to let me play.
That's true. Your gaming days would have been over.
That's what I'm saying.
Somehow she might find the link to this show. I don't know if it'll show up in a anonymous email or Facebook message.
Then you wouldn't see me on the show ever again.
If Brim just disappears without a trace.
We know what happened. So that's Brim's Derp moments. I shared one last week about my wife, Damina, and I. But Brim, you've got one from a viewer you wanted to share. What's that one all about?
Yeah, I've got a tweet from our dear friend Hans Dieter. And he's telling us about his Derp.
Shout out to Hans.
Yep, he's telling us about his Derp moment in League of Legends, our favorite game.
Yeah, you love that one.
I do. It's one of my top 1,000.
So what's up with Hans? What happened?
All right, so as we all know, Brim has a million nicknames, and he came up with a new one that I had not heard. He says, "Hey, Brownie Brim."
Brownie?
What's up, Brownie?
Hey, Brownie Brim. My derp of the week is from League of Legends before the Rises Mana rework. I was really fed with Rises 20/2 or so, and I told my friend over Skype who had just started League of Legends, "Hey, watch as I burst these 5 guys down by myself."
Nice, going for the penta.
Exactly. So, as it turns out, he walks up to the enemy team all alone, and these
This
are
has
his
gotta
words.
end well.
Apparently, he's just strutting his stuff and, just acting like a big old badass. And these are his words and not mine. "I got the shit CC'd out of me and couldn't land a single hit before I died, LOL."
Nice. I see that. I could see that happening in League of Legends on a daily basis to somebody.
So thank you to Hans Dieter for that derp of the week. And guys, I need more.
Where they send them to your Twitter, right?
Yep, they send them to the Twitter.
Cool. We'll plug that at the end of the show. All right. I think we all agree here that this particular IP that we're going to talk about was destined to become an MMO at some point, right?
Yes.
that's it, though.
No doubt.
Yeah, so we're talking about Game of Thrones. In particular, Game of Thrones 7 Kingdoms, the upcoming MMO RPG from Bigpoint. Now, I don't want to bash Bigpoint, but I'm going to say right at the beginning of this that as soon as I saw Bigpoint behind this particular IP, immediately I was a little bit worried. Now, Game of Thrones, pretty big IP, the HBO show, the books and everything. Lots and lots of people in on this, loving the Game of Thrones. I'm a big fan. I would play a Game of Thrones MMO for a little bit just to see if it was any good. But as soon as I saw Bigpoint, I got a little worried. This isn't, League or Lord of the Rings or Star Wars IP size, but it's pretty big, right, Kaylin?
Oh, yeah.
Like, I got to assume this wasn't a cheap IP to pick up. There were a bunch of companies after this at one point.
Oh, there had to have been. If not, they're stupid.
Well, I mean, you had another company do the console game, the single-player, game there. But there were a couple companies after the MMO rights for this. So I assume, a little bidding war took place, and Bigpoint shelled out a bunch of money to do this. So immediately I get a little worried because it's Bigpoint. I've played a lot of Bigpoint games. They kind of pump out games on a pace that's a little faster than you would think for normal game development. They, in my opinion only, they've had some issues in the cash shops on some of the games. But then add on to that, those concerns that I already have, add on to that it's browser-based too. And again, I don't have anything against browser-based. I have some favorite browser-based games. We'll get into that on a future show. But this IP, to me, just should not have been browser-based. This needed to be a client, full game, free-to-play, cash shop. Am I just nuts, Kaylin, or am I right to be concerned here?
I mean, I can see there being some concern, but as I've read about it, looking into it, I mean, they went with Art Plant, so I give that points in their favor. They're pretty solid when it comes to browser-based games.
And we've seen a screenshot or two.
Oh yeah, the screenshots look beautiful.
I mean, they weren't, a ton of screenshots. It was really, literally only a couple of screenshots that they sent out. We're going to see the trailer released at San Diego's Comic-Con for Seven Kingdoms. But, Brim, talk me off the ledge here, because 3 factions, you've got the whole PvP element, you've got the politics element, you've got a ton of different elements in this game here. And just with the inherent problems with browser-based, which tends to, again, not saying that this game will do this, but browser bases tend to be subject to lag a little more than most client games. They tend to be a little less graphically impressive. They tend to be a little more limited on what you can do. Is it wise for this to be browser-based?
I'm going to say no, because of the lag issue. PvP alone has its own issues.
Yeah.
And just looking at some of these, like you said, there's not too many images out there, but just from what we've seen, I think the graphics alone are going to give us trouble.
The graphics look fantastic. I mean, Kaylin's absolutely right. On the couple of screenshots they've released, it looks really good, especially considering that it's a browser-based game. You look at them and you just go, wow, wow, we're coming really far with browser-based games. But my problem is Bigpoint just seems to be pumping title after title after title after title. So I don't expect that this is going to have the in-depth development that maybe fans of the series are going to expect from this IP. Fair or unfair, Brim?
I agree with that.
Wow, we actually agree on something?
I know. It's one of those rare occasions, but I agree.
Stop the phones. Don't throw your authenticators.
Oh. But yes, I agree, because I feel like what is their in-game going to look like? Well, for all of their games, because if you're just pushing out one game after another, where's the thought process and the dedication to their other games?
Well, and to be fair, Bigpoint does have some games out on the market that there's still quite a community around. You've got the whole Drakensang Online, which has its fair share of a community. They've also got, Kaylin, the Battlestar Galactica license.
Yes.
And now they pick up the Game of Thrones one, which like I said, I don't assume that this was by any means a cheap IP to pick up. If they don't put the work into this that fans of this IP are going to expect, could this be really big trouble for Bigpoint, Kaylin? If this doesn't go well based on the cost alone, are they in trouble?
Oh, definitely. This has to go well. There's no other option. It's not like it can launch and do okay, and still they had to have dumped a fortune into this. This thing has to take off immediately.
Yeah, and you cannot make Game of Thrones pay to win. You make it pay to win, and your audience is gone fast, aren't they, Brim?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I mean, the people aren't going to have any problem buying things from the cash shop, because there's just, there's those people that just love cosmetic items. They love the special items. They love to save a little time with experience scrolls, and that's fine and everything. But if this has any flavor of pay to win with 3-faction PvP, a license that people absolutely love, I could see people turning on this really quick.
Yep, and they'll say, see you in Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, that's exactly what they'll do. Bigpoint totally screwed up Game of Thrones. Let me go play another game they made. I don't know. I'm just worried. Sounds like you guys are too.
I think they're at least headed in the right. I'm worried, but I think what I've seen so far, I think they're headed in the right direction at least. So
I want to see the trailer before I make any real, I'm absolutely horrified by what's going on decision. But I'm also scared that in the trailer they release at Comic-Con, I'm also of the mind that that's probably just going to be mainly cinematic. Do you think they're going to be putting a ton of gameplay in that, Brim?
No, I think you're right. I think it's going to be all cinematic.
We'll see. We'll get the Comic-Con trailer as soon as it comes out. Pump that out to you guys. Put your comments below. I mean, there's a ton of Game of Thrones fans, and from every forum that I've looked at, ours on the mmobomb.com site, every other site, it looks like there's a lot of people worried about this. I don't see anybody, cheering. Oh, yay, Bigpoint picked up the Game of Thrones license. Or, oh, yay, it's browser-based. I see a lot of people that are very worried, and a lot of people that are coming out saying, "Hey, I'm a Game of Thrones fan, but I'm not going to play this. I don't like the company, or I absolutely don't think this should be browser based." I think they're at a disadvantage to start with, and there's not going to be a lot of leeway on this one. So put your comments below. Do you agree? Do you think we're nuts here? Are you worried about it? What are your thoughts there? But let's slide over to the next one. Brim, I'm going to let you start with this one because you're kind of like our first-person shooter guy. So Activision Blizzard announced that Call of Duty Online will be free-to-play. Woohoo!
Woot!
In China.
Oh, what?
And just China. Now, I mean, we'll talk about why we think this is, because I've got some ideas on why they're targeting free-to-play, specifically China. But let's just look at this first from the idea of making Call of Duty Online, which is said to be a whole new game. It's not a rehash of something that exists, although I'm going to piss off Call of Duty fans, but aren't most Call of Duty games rehashes of the old ones, just prettier and put in a different environment? Come on, that's fair to say.
If you're looking at the multiplayer aspect of it, yes, I believe they are just kind of rehashing
Does
maps.
anybody buy Call of Duty for the single player anymore?
And
Honestly, I mean, does anybody buy Call of Duty for single player anymore?
No, not at all.
I mean, I'm not a huge first-person shooter, but I do participate in the Call of Duty fun every once in a while, and I know at least all of my friends in real life and my gamer friends, most of them, as soon as they buy the game, they come home, they throw it in, and boom, it's straight to multiplayer.
Right.
So it makes sense to do a free-to-play version. So, okay, great. We're all in favor of that. But what do you think of this, Brim, being free-to-play only in China? Isn't that pretty much like telling the rest of the world, hey, thanks for the $60 for the disc every time we put this out? But you guys and girls over here, we're going to give it to you for free. Isn't that kind of like the big middle finger, for lack of a better term, to everybody else that pays for this game every year?
It is
Or
kind of a slap in the face.
Every other year, whatever.
It is kind of a slap in the face to the rest of the world. But what I kind of see happening here, I see this as a trial run. I see them thinking about wanting to do this in other countries, and they're trying it out in China first.
Really?
And you're probably going to bring this up in a little bit.
That's an interesting take on this, because I totally don't agree. But go ahead.
I think what they're trying to do is, because China's main, and like I said, you're probably going to bring this up later, but their main focus is PC, right?
Yeah, the whole internet cafe thing. I mean, consoles don't have a very, very big presence in China.
Right. So what I think is going on here is I think they want to give it a trial run in China, see how it does free to play, which, if you ask me, free to play in a first-person shooter does not exist. But that's a whole other topic.
Bit cynical.
Right. I see this as a good thing if they are doing the trial run. I also see this as a bad thing because it's only free to play in China.
Yeah, and I'm with you as far as and Kaylin as well, with the China doesn't have a huge console presence, very big on internet cafe play, that type of thing on PCs. So it makes sense that you would take one of your most popular franchises on the consoles and try to introduce it to a country that has a bajillion people in it. I mean, that's just a huge market. You want to get them exposed to it. And you can't do that via console because you don't have the market share there. So let's make it PC. Okay, but how do we get a ton of people to play it and soon? Okay, well, let's make it free to play. So, in theory, that all kind of makes sense to me. But my problem, Kalen, and maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, I don't know. I don't see this going well. They're talking about making a whole new Call of Duty online game that's on par with the rest of them. So they're looking at what, a $50 million expense to make the game, assuming they just don't cut and paste levels from previous things, which they've said they're not doing. But so let's assume $50 million. You're going to market it free to play. If you put pay-to-win aspects in that game, you're not making your money back. So what do you need to do with the cash shop? I just don't see this washing. I don't see Activision Blizzard making the money that they think they're going to make from this. Am I totally off base, Kaylin?
No, I agree. I don't see them making much, if anything, off it.
Well, I mean, they're going to make,
Yeah, but not compared to what they make off the console, the market they have with all the other releases, like in the U.S.
Oh, yeah, it's not going to be anywhere near that, I don't think. I don't envision what they could do with the cash shop that would make that kind of money that you do when you sell it console style and you make a fortune every year that you release a copy. I just don't see what you could put in the Call of Duty cash shop. So Brim and I, you and I were talking about this last night, and we speculated that there has to be some aspect of this game that almost forces a purchase without forcing a purchase.
Right.
You know, they are able to say it's free to play. You can totally play it without spending a dime, but I just think there's going to be something in that cash shop that you pretty much have to buy to make it worthwhile to play.
Limit the maps or something.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want... Are they going to be silly about this and play with weapons and things that you can't get in-game? Or are they going to make the currency in-game so high that you'd be farming for 6 months before you could buy the same thing that you could spend $6 on?
See, and I see the in-game currency being an issue.
Mm-hmm.
How so?
Well, like you said, I see your weapons costing so much in-game currency that if you want to farm it, fine, but it's going to take you several weeks to get it. Whereas, I've got $5 in my pocket, I might as well just do it now.
Right.
Because people are always in a hurry, no matter what game you're playing.
Go ahead, Kaylin.
No, I have a completely different take on why they're probably going free to play in China. But
go ahead. What's up?
I think honestly, with the way China is, piracy is so rampant over, and I think they're basically like, well, we might as well go free to play, or else they're just gonna get it for free anyway. I think there's just so much piracy going on over there.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's going on in an awful lot of countries. It's just unfortunately...
not just China, exactly. But I think just the population...
China has the rep.
And they have the population density that plays the video games. It's not like in the U.S., I'm sure piracy is just as rampant. We just don't have as many gamers as they do.
I honestly probably wouldn't have the question marks around this that I do if they would have just taken an existing Call of Duty and ported it to a free-to-play PC model and said, okay, we're going to test the market with this. Because I think that would have put them in a lot less... I mean, obviously Activision Blizzard isn't suffering for money or anything, but $50 million to develop a new game where you can eat, a lot of that cost by taking something that's existing, port it, put a free-to-play cash shop on it, and test the market first. I don't think I'd have nearly the question marks that I do right now. But with them putting that type of expense into production, they have to almost be able to guarantee they're going to make most of that plus more back for this to even be a wise decision to try.
Unless they're going to do that, let's do it better than everybody else, and people are going to want to pay to. People will be willing to pay more for everything because it's a better quality than anything else that's out there.
Well, that's true too. I mean, quality is going to play a lot into this. What I my counterpoint to that would be the free-to-play first-person shooter market is very overcrowded at the moment.
Oh, yes.
Nowhere near as crowded as the damn anime market is. Stop, please. If I have to do another first look sometime this month for an anime-based MMO, I'm going to find a dog and kick it.
Brim's got a couple.
Yeah, Brim's got a couple.
I got one kick.
One of them ate a sandwich. I would never
And a
kick a
microphone.
dog. To all the listeners, I would never, ever kick a dog. I'm just a figure of speech.
No animals were harmed.
I'm going to give Activision Blizzard the thumbs down on the Call of Duty free-to-play in China whole new game. What about you, Brim? Thumbs up, thumbs down? I'm giving it a big thumbs down right now. I think it's a bad idea the way they're doing it. I think it could be done, but I think they're doing it wrong as far as they're dipping their toe in the water.
Well, I got to go thumbs up just so not to agree with you.
Oh, of course, we already agreed on one thing. The world would come to a standstill if we agreed on two.
No, I actually do have high hopes for this. I'm hoping that this turns out better than we expect. And I hope I hope it comes to the U.S. Who knows?
Kaylin, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Oh, I'm gonna hover in the middle here because I'm still on the fence about this. Parts of it really big thumbs down, but others like Brim says, hopefully it works out and it comes to the U.S. and then we can ride the wave. All the kinks are worked out.
Yay! Now we can play a game that has another 1 billion 13-year-olds in it swearing in my ear. Okay.
In another language.
Yes, in another language. It doesn't matter. It sounds the same. Let's go on to the third topic. So we're kind of split on Call of Duty. I think the plan is a thumbs down the way it's structured now. Brim is all thumbs up, and Kaylin's non-committal because she doesn't want to piss anybody off.
Yep.
Way decisive.
I am Switzerland.
Because Activision Blizzard's sitting there at their office right now going, what is Kaylin's opinion?
Yes, I know everything rides on.
Yes, if she doesn't have the right opinion, those mounts in WoW might just disappear.
Hey, look, I spent 2 hours on the phone with them, staying on their good side.
Next news story, Dust 514 by CCP. Now, listeners have been asking us to talk about this for quite some time. We've kind of shied away from it because originally there was the whole maybe it's going to be $10 thing, and then they finally said, okay, and this is months ago. We've been following this for a while. And then they decided, no, it's going to be fully free to play, no download fee. It is PlayStation 3 exclusive. So you PC guys that are watching Dust 514 and didn't know that, I'm sorry, spoiler alert, it's PS3 only. So let's talk about this just a little bit. I mean, it's the sci-fi, PvP-centric, shooter style, and I don't really want to talk about the game itself and its aspects because we don't have anything more than commercials that CCP has given us at this point on those. However, you can register for the beta. It's closed, and they have little beta events and certain days and things like that. So feel free to register. Come on over to mmobomb.com, click the link, and head on over. But one thing I do want to talk about is an interesting connection to another MMO. And I really like this if it's worked out well. Either of you ever spent any time in Eve?
A little bit, yeah.
Brim?
It was off my radar.
Off your radar?
Yep.
Okay. Eve, for people that don't know, has a bit of a reputation for being a hard game to get into as a new player. Kaylin, I'm sure you can vouch for that. But it does have the side benefit that although you do have to pay to play, you can counterbalance that through gaining actual value inside the game and then turning that into like playtime cards and things like that. So Eve, not free to play, but there's a ton of people that make it free to play by gaining money in the game. So that's focused more on space control, right? Ships and combat in space, right?
Correct.
So here's the interesting thing. Dust 514 takes place on a cluster of planets, and there's portals for you to jump from planet to planet, but you're on the planet itself for these battles and these sieges and these vehicle combat, and the video just looks really cool for all of these. But it interacts with the EVE universe, too, where factions are pushing for control and different things on the land in Dust 514. And if the EVE players have a valued, vested interest in who wins that, they can actually attack from their ships down to ground. And the Dust 514 players will be given the abilities to fight with weapons that can shoot up into space at the actual ships from EVE. So I think it's a really interesting aspect, a nice way to weave your games together without just saying, oh, here's EverQuest 1 and here's EverQuest 2. It's it's this, we've got the same interconnection. I think it's really, really cool the way they're weaving these together, if they can pull it off. Brim, what do you think, though? Since Dust 514 is going to be free to play, and you have pay-to-play EVE that can influence the free-to-play game, I could see why some people might have a little question mark above their head. So what are your thoughts?
That is a very interesting... yeah. I don't know. I'm kind of blown away by that question just because I did not think of it that way.
See? Encouraging the thought.
That's why they pay you the big bucks, right?
Yes, that's why I get the title volunteer. All right, so we'll go away from Brim. Kaylin, yes, no, kind of cool, kind of not cool. What do you think?
Well, I'm not really an EVE player, but I can see how the long time. I mean, that game is a huge investment of time. That persistent
definitely.
world. I mean, that just these people who've been playing EVE have a lot of time wrapped up in it, and now here come these people who don't have the time, don't have the money. You know, it's free to play. They're brand new, and they can come and destroy everything that these people have put hours and tons of money into. I see that, and I see it being a huge. They're just being a big discourse amongst the two games.
Yeah, I mean,
At least
and if you
initially.
watch YouTube videos on EVE, you can see these guys and girls that are just so into it, and they've got Excel sheet after Excel sheet after Excel sheet on different things, and it's pretty incredible how deep some of the EVE players get into it. More power to them. I wish I had the time or the patience, honestly.
Because it was a great game. I just so much time involved in it, and I could see getting really mad. I mean, that's like putting in hundreds of hours on a project and someone coming and stealing the credit.
Yeah, but I've got to think, though, that it's going to be limited. As cool as it sounds to me, that like, oh man, these, they take place in the same universe. The two games are linked, even if it's just through this one aspect of combat. As much as I think that's really cool, and I would love to see that implemented on a bigger scale, I just got to think that the Dust 514 players are not going to have a very big impact on the EVE players.
Oh, they couldn't.
For the reasons you just gave.
Yep.
But I feel like the EVE players have a very statistical advantage, attacking from space down onto the planet, and they've got a vested interest in success because they've sunk time and money into this stuff. I just think that the EVE players are going to be able to impact the Dust 514 world a lot more than the 514 world's going to be able to impact EVE. And if that's the case, what's the point of the integration of the two?
Right.
Yeah, to drive more players to EVE.
Well, that's kind of brilliant
piss 'em
marketing
off
on CCPs.
It is a brilliant marketing strategy, honestly.
And I've
Dangling a carrot in front of everybody.
Yeah, and I assume that's got to be like in the back of their minds. Like if we can create a compelling universe in Dust 514, and players know that that is also our EVE universe, we may be able to convert some of these free-to-play players to subscription-based. But I don't know. I think it's super cool. I'm excited about the game. The videos look great. Did you check out any of the trailers?
Oh yeah, they look. It looks really good.
Yeah, The vehicle combat looks cool. The call down strikes and things like that are cool. I'm going to be interested to see exactly how much integration the two games have with each other, and how much of an influence one's going to have on the other. But I'm excited for Dust 514. I haven't talked a lot about it, but there's my take on it. I am very excited for the game itself, standalone, and I'm even more excited to see exactly the extent that the EVE integration goes. Brim, excited? Don't care? What's up?
I'm gonna say don't care.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Eve is one of those where it's so hard to jump into it as a new player, and I really don't see Dust being my type of game.
That's interesting from Mr. Shooter PvP guy.
I know. I'm going with it.
Kaylin, what about you?
Oh, I'm excited for it. I'd like to see. I think it's going to be exciting. I'm excited about it. Well, I use the word excited a lot in one sentence.
You sound riveted.
I am. No, I think it's a good thing. I like the concept, and I think honestly, I'd like to see other games. I'd like to see this take off so other games will follow with this concept.
Oh, I agree. I agree. I would like to see. I think it's really cool that you've got different genres of games that are linked by the same world and can interact with each other. I think that's an interesting concept that needs to be explored. That's why I'm hoping that CCP gets it right with Dust 514 and makes other publishers think, you know what, can we do that with one of our worlds? Let's slide over to the weekly bombs. We've got the website up there. You can come and take a look. All the shows on there. League of Legends Champions, hosted by Shady, who's going to lose in the Smite match. We've got the free-to-play weekly, which will be mentioned here in some of the bombs in a little bit. We've got a ton of shows over there, a couple giveaways, so come and check it out. Let's start with our weekly bombs, and we'll roll to the viewers. Brim, you're up first. What do you got?
Oh, you know what? I don't normally do this, but I'm going to take a page out of our dear friend Havoc's book.
Uh-oh.
I got to give a bomb to something that's not a game.
Okay.
I'm going to give it to myself.
Is this a dub bomb or an A bomb?
It is a dub A bomb.
Oh, I was going to say,
I'm
going to give it to myself. I am the bomb.
That's how bad it's been. I don't even know
dub
what
bomb
bombs
good,
do what
A
anymore.
bomb bad. A bomb falling on something would be very bad. Remember it that way.
Yeah, it's an A bomb. I've just had such, the week I've had.
Yeah.
Just trying to get this show off the ground this week has been tremendous. I'm just so glad that at the end of the week I am going to be in the middle of the Atlantic on a boat.
Nice. Yeah, enjoy your vacation, stay safe, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Yes, sir.
What about you, Kaylin? Weekly bomb. Dub bomb, A bomb, what do you got?
Oh, mine is going to be a dub bomb.
Wow, you're so excited you deafened me.
I'm sorry, I'm a little excited. Years ago, I guess it's not that many, but 2007 Stalker series. I don't know if anyone's familiar with the game. Got a lot of hype. Stalker 2 coming out.
S.T.A.L.K.
Yes, Stalker. The studio that was producing Stalker 2 decided to up and close the doors. And I know a lot of people looking forward to that game. All of a sudden, nope, project's done. GSC closed. What's really cool is a bunch of the devs from GFC have gotten back together now and formed a company called Vostok Games. And they've announced within the last couple of days that they're making a new game called Servarium, which is a very Stalker-like, it's a MMO FPS. And they have now announced that it is going free to play.
Yeah, this one's kind of been under the radar for most people right now.
Definitely. I saw that they had announced recently that it was going free to play, and honestly, I'm giving it a dub bomb for two reasons. Number two, that group of devs stuck together.
Yeah.
And now are putting out, working to put out a game and making it free to play.
There you go. I actually changed my weekly bomb. I know in the show notes I sent you guys a dub bomb for Red 5 Firefall. because they put out that summer milestone update, and they changed the hitboxes to be animated instead of cylinder hitboxes, and changed run speeds for all the different battle frames, and they just seem to be tweaking the combat even more, and some of the graphics and things. So I was super excited about that. But in light of our recording late, we got a news story that came out earlier this week where Phantasy Star Online 2 from Saga will receive a United States and European release at the beginning part of 2013. And I gotta give it a da-bomb. I've said on previous shows when we've mentioned Phantasy Star Online 2, and we've mentioned it very briefly, specifically because at that point it was a Japan exclusive. But when I talked about it, I did mention that it's got to come stateside. It's got to go to Europe. There's just too many people that are interested in it. And it is, and it's free to play. And I will tell you that I was in beta, and if you enjoyed Phantasy Star Online, either on the computer or like I played it way back on the Dreamcast, then you are probably going to love Phantasy Star Online 2. It's not going to be everybody's cup of tea. I will tell you that right now, just from playing it and playing previous Phantasy Star Online. If you were a PSO player, you know that that's not everybody's cup of tea. But if you like PSO, you are going to like PSO 2, and I am super pumped that it's getting a United States and European release. It just officially launched in Japan on July 4th, so it's really only been officially launched there for about 6 or 7 days. They did let you keep beta characters from the open beta, but they've recently just had the official launch. Cash Shop is a bit ridiculous, actually. The cash shop is just full of ridiculous cosmetic items. Just absurd things like duck suits, and it's all in there. So the cash shop's a bit silly. Obviously, we don't know if the United States and the Europe version is going to have the same cash shop or the same style cash shop. But I'm super excited. I can't wait. I know a lot of people are pumped about that one as well. We get somebody asking us to talk about that each week, and we pretty much have stayed away from it with the exception of a mention here or there because it was Japan only at that time. So let's go to the member bombs, Brim. And remember, our question of the week last week, I'm going to remind you now before we actually get to the question answers, because some people that sent in their weekly bombs also answered the question of the week. The question of the week last week was, we're considering a few new shows on the site, such as a weekly Q&A and some other things, but you, our viewers, should be the one, in my opinion, deciding what type of shows we do. So I asked you to give us some info on what type of shows you would like to see. So we'll hit most of your answers in just a few minutes, but I wanted to get that there since some of the bombs have their answer in it. So Zombie Mark Twain, I have a dub bomb for really a great game that not many people know about, Face of Mankind. Thought about it when you were talking about repopulation. In Face of Mankind, players join one of 8 factions that are competing for dominance in the universe. You can join a subgroup in that faction that focuses on either combat, economy, or training. It's very unique. It has endless hours of gameplay because all the content is created by the players. Every item in the game, from drugs to armor, is player-made and thrown into the economy by the marketplace interface. The game does offer a subscription. The free accounts are not so limiting that you cannot play the game. Free accounts have access to all the content and can openly participate in all the in-game hijinks. I know there is a first look video for the site, but I know that many people watch the free-to-play cast, and I just wanted to get my input there. Great show. Keep up the good work. Well, that is incredibly informative description, Zombie Mark Twain. Thank you. We've talked about Face of Mankind quite a few times on this show, Brim, haven't we?
Yeah, I was actually going to say something. I wanted to stop you because I was like, I'm pretty sure we talked about it. I think we talked about it more off the air than on the air, though.
Yeah, we've talked about it. I gave a dub bomb to them when they just recently had an update to the game a few episodes back. And I believe when we talked about it, I put the opinion out there that if you play Face of Mankind for an hour, maybe 2 hours, you will immediately know whether you love the game or whether you hate it. There's not going to be an in-between for most people.
Right.
You're either going to absolutely love Face of Mankind like Zombie Mark Twain does, or you're going to absolutely hate it because it's just different than anything that's out there. So thank you for that one, Zombie. What's the next one here? Grim Arcane. Grim Arcane, I've actually spent some time talking to Grim on the Steam group, mmobomb.com, or mmobomb in the chat there. DeBomb for the free-to-play cast, DeBomb for Magic Man. Help me out with some good tips. No problem. You're very welcome. I thank you for the compliment. A show I would like to see is the PWF cast, Play with Fan cast, of MMO Bomb staff playing MMOs with fans or something like that. P.S. A-Bomb for Area Games. You know why.
You know why.
You know why. Everybody knows why. Everybody has by now heard of War and Story.
It's riveting.
It's riveting. Yeah, Play with the fan cast. That's I don't know if that would be like a good show, like every week type thing.
I could see that, once a month or something.
Yeah, like when we did the last free-to-play cast live, and we'll do it again when we do the next live show, which I'm still trying to find a second host for right now. I've got Celsius on board with another live one. I got to find a second host out of you guys that wants to go on camera. But we ended up spending, like 3 hours after the show had been filmed?
Easily.
Just playing Aeon and Brick Force, and hell, I even whipped out DuckTales pre-show with an NES emulator.
That was great.
Yeah, and so we could definitely do something like that, but I agree with you, Brim. I think it might be better if it was in conjunction with a live cast of some type, and then we just continued the recording and then put the video up, and whoever wanted to watch it could. Throw the chat up there. That would be fun. Next up, Stacy. This is from mmobomb.com. Stacy says, I forgot to give my bomb. Bomb to Aeon Ascension truly free. I used to play when Aeon was a monthly fee, and I'm overjoyed that it's free to play now. They've added a lot of cool stuff since I last played, and as far as I can see, there are no pay-to-win items or gear in the cash shop. They have some XP bonus packs for faster leveling, but nothing that I can see that would put a cash shop buyer far above someone who doesn't spend a dime. You guys need to check it out since you liked it when it was monthly sub. Next week and a half is perfect time to play as they're giving away, yes, totally free, 100% XP bonus amulets every day for the next week and a half or so. I laughed so much with this episode. Keep up the good work. About the weekly question, I think a show with you guys talking about old and new movies would be great. My DeBomb is for... that's the next one, sorry. Did I? Yeah, that's...
You just totally...
Yeah,
I should have stopped you.
You should have stopped me. I just kept going. Stacy's thing ended at the free amulets.
No, you took
Stacy's
the poor guy's credit.
She's a pretty new member on the mmobomb.com site, and we're very, very happy to have her. She's given some nice feedback on what she likes about different shows, what she doesn't like. And then she's just nice feedback. It's our community. For the most part, our community has a really polite way of saying, hey, I don't like this, and here's why. And Stacy fits the community. She heard last week Demina and I talking about Aeon. Demina doesn't play anymore. She has stopped and hasn't played it since it's been free to play. I still play it, Stacy, so I'm absolutely with you. I play on the North American truly free model that NC Soft does, not the European model that GameForge does, which some people have some issues with some of the cash shop items there. But I'm with you. Absolutely great to bomb. Since apparently I can't read, why don't you take the next one there, Kaylin?
Okay, let's see. This is from Lurisan. Am I saying that right?
Sounds right to me.
Sounds good. It says, I laughed so much with this episode. Keep up the good work. About the weekly question, I think a show with you guys talking about old and new movies would be great. My bomb is for Dragon Nest for being a great action game and having a good story. Greetings from Brazil.
All right. Ooh, shout out to Brazil. You're a Dragon Nest girl. You played that for a little while.
A little bit, yep. I kind of dabbled in a little bit of everything.
Yeah, a lot of fans, a lot of listeners there love the Dragon Nest. Yeah, it was a good game. I don't have a ton to say on it, but I agree with you.
I was talking about movies.
It's a good action game. Yeah, let's talk about movies. The next person that says shenanigans is getting pistol whipped.
Yeah, it's funny she brought that, or he or she. Man, we do that every time.
Oh, not we anymore, just you.
Oh, okay. I do it every time. It's funny that they brought that up because I think we've actually talked about that before and mentioned that we could probably do like a 12-hour podcast just on movies.
Yeah, we should. I should start doing it, and if the owner doesn't want to put it up, we'll just put it up on my YouTube channel.
There you go.
I'm gonna read this one. Xenomex says, hello. No offense. Fan of the show. But Brim, no offense. But you sound so full of bollocks when you talk. I mean, it's okay that you don't know much about a game, but at least don't try then. My A-bomb of the week. Sorry, bro. Peace.
You got 2 A-bombs this week. You gave yourself
Gave
one.
yourself one, and Xenomex gave you one, too. What were you talking about last week that I guess he or she doesn't think you know a lot about? Talked about League of Legends, probably.
It's probably League of Legends.
Probably League of Legends. My favorite game is Brick Force. Ugh. I don't like League of Legends. It's too cartoony. What? Inflictus! Welcome back, by the way, Inflictus. You've been away for a little while.
Oh, our good friend.
Yeah. Was doing some traveling. And apparently is now back. Another fine show, Magic Man. Thank you. I have an A-bomb and a dub-bomb for you this week. Now, Inflictus always writes very, very detailed posts on every show. And we read every single one. But I'm going to paraphrase here and just give the bombs. A-bomb goes to Davina. Get to keep your character in the closed beta if you got to 30 or above. But unfortunately, Inflictus had to start over at level 1 with no bonus of any kind. Because it's pretty fast leveling, so it wasn't a huge deal, but then after that they stopped giving XP bonuses, and it was a grind, and turned out just couldn't do it. Bean Fun wasn't so fun. So A-bomb from Inflictus to Davina. I kind of like that game. I mean, it wasn't anything horribly great. Another damn anime thing. So the question of the week, new shows, what should we do? Trance22355 says, I'd like to see a show that takes one game, talks about it in detail, let's say take C9, and show us how PvP works. Is it balanced, armors, weapons, all the things we didn't see in the free-to-play cast show when we talk about that. And P.S., I would like to see Brim eat tacos. Brim, apparently you need to send me some footage of you eating tacos.
I'm telling you.
Brim eating tacos.
Oh, that's right. We actually had lunch together.
We did.
Everybody's got to, we're talking about getting all the cast together physically in one place and filming the shenanigans of the day. And who knows if it'll ever see the light of day as far as the footage, but it'd be fun. Single game shows are kind of hard. Because you've got to pick a game that either a lot of people play so that the show's worth doing, based on people watching it, or you've got to pick a game that at least a lot of people, whether they actually play it or not, are interested in watching it. So it's kind of hard to do one-game shows.
That's true.
That's kind of hard.
Yeah.
That, and you always have the thing where, if somebody thinks it's pay to win or somebody thinks it's not pay to win, you're going to piss somebody off. Either way, it doesn't really matter. You're going to make somebody upset. And then I talked to somebody who said, every free-to-play game is pay to win to somebody. And I said, that's probably the most intelligent thing I've ever heard. So, yeah, I could see that. It's definitely in the cards. It is something we've talked about. Single game shows do get a little dicey in the details, though. So we'll see what happens. Guy Shows says, what happened to the free-to-play weekly? I always look forward to seeing it, although I'm not a big fan of the new free-to-play weekly, but it works. Free-to-play weekly, it's up now as of the time we're recording this. Little delayed there, and I put a comment in the forum where some people were talking about it in the MMO Bomb forums. Just some audio issues on the recording, and by the time we were working it out, there were a couple news stories that we needed to add to it, so it got a little bit delayed. But it's up now with Jessica Brohard on it. She's going to be on a future free-to-play cast. She was going to be on tonight, but unfortunately she had another event to cover. And so she'll be on a future show so you guys and girls can get to know her. Because I know there seems to be a lot of controversy about Jess Brohard, huh there, Kaylin?
Yeah, just a little.
Yeah, it's it's like Face of Mankind. People are like, I love her, and then other people, I hate her. And I think a lot of people, may be posting comments unfairly because they don't know her, and it's okay. She's a big girl; she can take it.
Yeah, just like I sound like a man,
Yeah, you sound like a man, but it's okay. It may not be. Some people like the old, some people like the new. That's always going to happen. But Jess will be fine. Just when she comes on the show, she'll talk about the game she plays. I think a lot of people just didn't know her, and then all of a sudden she was on the free-to-play weekly show, and it was like, who the hell is this? Is this even a gamer? And yes, she's a big-time gamer. So we'll talk more with her when she's actually on the show. What's the next one, Brim?
S1M007. She writes... maybe funny moments of the week. Everyone will send in videos, and you will choose the best funny or interesting moments and put them in a video. I think that would be a great show.
I agree.
I agree too, but now you're talking
Here's the thing.
about... Yeah, I already know where you're going with it.
We do this. During Free-to-Play Weekly, the show we just talked about with Jess on it, there's the video of the week. And we get at least one comment every single week that, it's the free-to-play cast in the video of the week. Well, that is not meant to be. In fact, I would rather it not be the free-to-play cast. Because it's, Brim definitely, because it's
normally
usually
me.
It's normally Brim. But I would rather it not be the free-to-play cast. That spot, guys, is originally reserved and still is for viewers. So S1M007, viewers, feel free. If you've got something funny or a cool video, game, free-to-play game related, somebody getting totally owned or whatever in a game, and you've got the footage, throw it up on YouTube. You can make it private if you want. Send it to contact@mmobomb.com. Send us the link, and we will go and grab those videos and pick the funniest ones or the most interesting ones, and they will be the video of the week. And we would much rather have it that way. Unfortunately, it's not something that a lot of people submit to, and I don't know if it's because just a lot of people don't know that that's what we wanted to do with that segment, but that's definitely what we would prefer. So S1M71, you could be the first. And anybody else, feel free. I'd much rather see you guys in there than the free-to-play cast. I hear my voice enough when I listen to the playback. Kaylin, what's next?
This one is from Bob 41897. Hey, Magicman and Brim, which would you two prefer, Vindictus or C9?
And we'll let Kaylin answer, even though Bob didn't care about her opinion.
He doesn't care about my opinion. He's asking you guys.
I actually answered Bob on the YouTube channel, but I'll give my answer C9.
I feel like we answer this question once a week now.
Yeah, pretty much.
People are going to start thinking it.
You're Vindictus. I'm C9. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We're both C9.
We're both C9.
We're both C9. What about you, Kaylin?
I'm going to have to go with C9, too.
Okay. That's not to say Vindictus is bad. I love Vindictus.
Right.
Yeah.
I just like C9 better, and we've made that distinction before on the show many times.
I'm telling you, people are going to think that we're working for C9.
I wish.
Hint,
Wish somebody, yeah, there it is.
Nudge, nudge.
Yeah,
we know they're listening.
Nudge, nudge. Webzen, give me a call. I'll fly to Korea and do a dance or whatever I need to do. Whatever will get me a paycheck. King SY00 or King Psy00. Show of random games of random trolling all day, every day.
I'd watch that.
I would.
I would too, but I would feel like such an ass every time I made an episode. That's something to consider. I don't know if we want to play that game, though. That's like, oh, you got to check out this website. And then you come and you watch this video that your friend told you to watch. And you're like, that was me. That's not cool. I don't think that would be good for the community building. But it would
come watch this douchebag.
Yeah, it would definitely be funny. But I don't know if that's the type of thing you want to do. Weekly Q&A would be awesome. That's from Gibril4. We are doing that. But who was the horrible heavy in the background? I feel sad for the medic, referring to the video that was rolling last week.
Yeah.
Nice job there. Yes, we are doing a weekly Q&A. That will be me on camera, taking usually 3 or 4 questions. That is probably, don't hold me to this, guys, but the first inaugural episode of that is probably going to go up sometime in the next week to week and a half to finish filming. I have a new piece of equipment on its way here, and as soon as I have that, I'll be ready to film the first episode. Already got the questions and the answers, but then each of those shows will be relying on you guys to submit questions every single week. So you guys will have a big role in that. And it's also a no-nonsense show, so if you're asking for opinions, don't troll me if I give my opinion and it just doesn't happen to be yours. I'm sorry. We may have a different opinion on things, but we're taking questions on everything. Like, I'm going to give you a teaser here, Brim. One of the questions for the first show is one we get an awful lot, is people that want to start making YouTube videos or streaming or things like that. We constantly get asked, like, what type of microphone should I buy?
Oh, yeah.
Or what type of webcam should I buy? And so we will talk about that a little bit on the initial Q&A, particularly in the microphone portion. That's one let's get that out of the way since so many people ask that.
Wireless.
I always
cough, wireless.
Yeah. If you have animals in your house, go wireless.
Yeah, but if we're talking quality, then it's not to say wireless mics are bad. It's just
quality is better
for what you're trying to do.
This? If you're Brim, get wireless.
Yeah, if you're Brim, use a landline phone.
Cordless.
I always thought, Kaylin, what might be a good show. Let me know what you think of this, and the viewers can definitely let me know what they think. I always thought that a good show might be like maybe a bi-weekly thing or even a once-a-month thing. I don't know if weekly would be good for it. But I always thought a good show, and one that you don't really see on websites but you see different people making YouTube videos for, is like the actual making of some of these YouTube videos or some of these streaming things, and what software goes into it and how the different software works and things like that. I always thought that might be something that people would be interested in, that have never done it but are looking to do it. Maybe going through, okay, here's Fraps, and let's talk a little bit about Fraps, and then we'll keep adding pieces until we make a video together. So, I don't know. What do you think of that?
I love videos like that. I think that's
you see some great videos on YouTube where it's, some great people that maybe you don't know. I mean, it's just them making YouTube videos on here's how you can live stream, or here's how you can make a YouTube video or do some gameplay or whatever. And there's some really great videos out there. I just think it would be maybe something fitting for our site if it's something the viewers want, where we could really get in depth with a bi-weekly series on how certain types of videos are created and what works and what doesn't. Since you're already here looking at your MMO news, if you want to get into it, here's tutorial videos too. So, I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. Throw that in the comments below. You guys got a ton of stuff to comment about this week, listeners, so it's all up to you. Don't forget your bombs, too. Here's your question of the week, guys. How do you feel about the Call of Duty free in China? And in particular, I want you to take the IP out of it. I don't want you to think Call of Duty. I just want you to think, how do you feel about a company releasing a game that most countries pay cash to play and making a brand new version free, but limiting it to one or a specific country? So take Call of Duty out of it and just apply it generically. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Make sure you rate, you comment, you subscribe, you come on over to iTunes, give us a review, help us out there. Let's throw it around for the final word. Brim, you're up.
Oh, that's another week in the bag. I'm glad to say it's over, honestly. Viewers, thanks for listening, and don't forget to hop on the Twitter. Follow me at BRIMTTIN. I need those derps of the week so that I have something to talk about on the shows.
Nice. Kaylin.
Well, I guess I should probably get around to making a Twitter at some point. But in the meantime, if you want to know Brim's girlfriend's Facebook,
Oh, Jesus.
Brownie.
Brim, I'm going to share my nicknames for Brim. I've got two. He normally goes by Brimtin in some games, and obviously from his Twitter account. So he's either Brimberly or Brimberly Longstockings, depending on what he is doing in game at that particular moment. If he's standing in green shit, he's Brimberly Longstockings. Well, for Kaylin and Brim, guys, I'm Magic Man. Thank you so much for listening to the show. Make sure you answer all the bazillions of things we asked you feedback for this week. We'll get it all in next week's show as well. You can email me at magicman@mmobomb.com. You can hit me up on the Twitter at magicman1. That's MAGICKMANN1 on the Twitters. And until next time, guys, stay safe, and we'll see you on the servers.